We're going live. Just getting my cup of coffee off of the coffee machine, and we're about to get into another installment of Get a Clue in 52. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks for joining. Happy Friday to you as always. Let me get a little light on the subject. All right. So I'm lit in the home office, and we are doing another installment of Get a Clue in 52. This one is for coaches. I've done other versions of Get a Clue in 52. It's a series of tips books, which allows me to come online once a week and be available for discussions and put some content down and populate social media channels. And I think I'm due for a haircut, and that's a sore subject. But anyway, I digress. Happy Friday. So Get a Clue in 52. These books have 5 categories. So the first installment that we did, the categories were communication, networking, marketing, sales, and accountability. Then the second installment of Get a Clue in 52 that we did was the entrepreneur edition. So those 5 categories were personal branding, business acumen, business ownership, leadership and influence, and then work-life balance. And now this version of Get a Clue in 52 is for coaches. So the 5 categories that we're dealing with here are self-promotion. We did 11 tips in the self-promotion category. And then we went ahead and did 9 tips in engagement or enrollment. I use those words interchangeably. I say that because if you're coaching for a practice or for income, or you want to be a coach as a profession and build an income in a career, or a business as a coach. I don't even like saying business, a practice, like income from coaching, right? You want people to hire you. You want enrollment. You want people to enroll in your coaching programs. But if you want the skill sets, the tools of a coach in your toolbox, in your some other form of leader, what you want is engagement, employee engagement. So enrollment or engagement, they're the same thing. It's just, what's our purpose for coaching? Is it one of the tools that we have in our toolbox as a leader overall, or are we trying to build all of our revenue around this practice, right? And so that's the distinction between those two words. But we did 9 tips in the enrollment section. And then, without reviewing all of those, and that we got through that. And then last week, we started the 3rd section of the book. I can't believe it. Happy June. Where's the year going, Sue? We're in
So
June.
fast.
Yeah. We're in June already. So what we're doing here is we're in the category on motivation. So after we get through our tips on motivation, then we'll get through tips on accountability. And then finally, the last 12 tips of the book, the last 12 weeks of the year, I'm going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to be very silly and very wacky and very jovial in my reading of my stream of consciousness writing. Because really, like, it's almost in memory when I think back to when I was writing the book, it was therapy. It's like therapeutic. I was writing tips for other people, but I was like processing all of the mistakes I've made and all the challenges I've overcome and all of the boulders that I've pushed uphill. And I'm not even anywhere near where I want to be. I'm still going. I've been coaching for money for like 17 years or something like that. And I still consider myself like in need of so much learning and growth for myself. But one of the best ways to learn is to endeavor to teach others. So here we are. And what we did last week was we opened up the section on motivational coaching, and I've got banners and all of this stuff that we could do. What do we do? 10 tips on motivation is where we're at right now. I'm not going to go through all the other banners and review all the other tips. We're too far into the middle of the book now to do a stepwise review of every single tip as we have in the past. I will tell you that as Cluby Snacks go, motivation plus accountability equals results. And that's what we're doing right now is we're focusing on this motivation section. So last week's tip was outcomes for motivational coaching. The first tip in this section was outcomes. And it's interesting. I ended up doing a soft skill training for a new client that's come on board, a fantastic nonprofit organization in Canada that's creating soft skills for what they call their newcomers, right? People that are on their way towards active Canadian citizenship and community building. So they're going through a soft skill accelerator program and interacting with all these volunteers that are contributing mentoring. And it's in one of the first units of soft skill training that we got to do for this client is coaching and mentoring as a function of leadership to get these mentors in the program ready to work with their newcomers in the program. So one of the things that we had to go into is take this tip that I read last week, outcomes for motivational coaching, and put it into the presentation and make sure that somebody that's endeavoring to coach and mentor understands outcomes for what motivational coaching is all about. And so, it's all about rapport and getting crystal clear and having breakthroughs, seeing, learning, knowing, feeling things we didn't know before, feeling empowered with a readiness to act, and arriving at decisions on their own, but aided by light we shine on their options, of course, and making sure that of all of the rapport building and all of the motivation and all of the discussion and all of the option illuminations that take place, it still has to end with an action item. Every single session, even if we're just doing motivational coaching, not even accountability coaching, even so, we want everybody that we're working with to take some sort of action on what we've discussed in that session. All right, what can you commit to right now that would apply or deepen or actualize the value of the session? We want it to translate into action item always. So that takes us to tip number 2, and I'm ready to get rolling. Page number 91, if you're following at home. We take a sip of coffee, and while I'm doing this sip of coffee, seems to me like a really good time to say, hi, Sue, do you have any comments or questions before I get into the reading of today's tip?
No real comments, I don't think. Just that, I think I'm really keen to hear what you've got to say.
Yeah, you know what? That's funny because I am too.
So let's do it.
I'm really keen to hear what I'm about to say. And what we're talking about today is emotional tools. Let's see. What each folder is limited. How interesting. Okay, that makes sense. I just found out a new thing about StreamYard, which is that they only allow a certain number of banners, right?
Right.
That's okay. So I got to delete some. That's so classic, Jeff. All right. Okay, there it is. Let's see if that goes. Don't give me do not. Tip number 2, emotion. All right, 22. Here we go. Emotional tools, right? So the idea is, real quick, let me set this as an overview. If there's a million things that we do to provide motivational coaching, I just talked about 6 outcomes that we want to keep in mind and guide our efforts, right? But if there's a million things we do in order to achieve those outcomes, all 1 million things, in my opinion, fit into 2 categories. External motivation with strategies, tactics, and resources, and internal motivation with mindset, habit building or breaking, intervention, emotional addiction, peel the layers of the onion, right? So internal and external. External motivation is easy, strategic, tactical, resourceful, action taking. But you could have the best boat, you could be the best sailor, you could have the best crew, you could have a blank check, you could have the best map. Doesn't matter if you believe the world is flat, right? So when it comes to that those are the 2 distinctions. So when it comes to strategies, tactics, and resources, what kinds of areas do we want to be able to have strategies, tactics, and resources to suggest to our clients? Well, we're starting here with emotional tools. We'll get into relationship tools. We'll get into physical tools or financial tools. There's a big toolbox that we want as motivational coaches or leaders able to provide motivational coaching. So that's where we're coming from. We're starting on emotional tools. Here we go. And it's so funny. I'm laughing at myself, Sue, because before I start reading word for word, I usually preface, because I'm so clear on my thoughts on all of this stuff. So I preface, and then I get into reading word for word and end up reading word for word what I just prefaced with. So let's see if that happens again. Here we go. All right. Thank you for joining on a Friday. It always gives me great energy knowing that you're here. So thank you. All right. In coaching, it is our knowledge of strategy, concepts, techniques, resources, exercises, etc., that are the tools of our craft. For motivational coaching, there are 4 primary emotional tools that I lean on most. Sometimes I'm relying on this knowledge during my listening, and other times I need to explain this information to or exercise this information with the client. The first tool is our understanding of human needs. There are many ways to acquire a deep understanding of the predictable drivers of inner psychology and decision-making. From Maslow's hierarchy of needs to Aristotle's pathos, all the way to Tony Robbins' framework of 6 emotional needs, or anywhere else in the world of behavioral science you may look, we can work with the understanding that 100% of a person's behavior is an attempt to meet one or more needs. I'm going to slow down and say that again. This is critical. It's almost Klubi snackable, right? If we as coaches and leaders if we understand that 100% of a person's behavior is an attempt to meet one or more needs, we have made a big leap forward in being able to support somebody. Okay, I'm going to keep reading word for word, and then we'll have a discussion as we go. Some attempts are conscious, others subconscious. Some attempts are sustainable, others are not. Some attempts meet only one need, others meet several. The tool of it all is being able to help clients understand what needs are being met by current behaviors. I'm going to say that again. The tool of it all is to be able to help clients understand which needs are being met by which current behaviors and which needs are being ignored, which needs are fulfilled at a high level, and if that is at the expense of other needs. Are needs being met in balance or out of balance? I use my understanding of needs to help clients recognize and confront painful or destructive behaviors. The next emotional tool I keep super handy, like all caps, like super handy, right, is my understanding of an automatic behavior in all human beings called ego defense. Our instinct to flinch, scream, swat at, or run from a startling perceived, here comes Margot. All right, here we go. I'm going to stop what I'm doing and get Margot on board right now. You betcha. Hey, Margot, what's happening?
Well, I'm a little sick.
Oh, come on. You don't look
Oh.
sick. You look fantastic, as always. I think that blue is a really good color for you.
Oh my goodness, that's not good.
Yeah,
All right.
I know.
Look at you.
We went
I don't know whether
with
to
our
thank you.
grandkid.
I don't know whether to thank you for being here while you're sick or tell you how crazy you are and go back to bed. I'm not sure what to do. Anyway, here we go. Let me continue the
Here we
read
go.
and we'll see if we can gather ourselves into some valuable conversation. So the second emotional tool I keep super handy is my understanding of an automatic behavior in all human beings called ego defense. Our instinct to flinch, scream, swat at, or run from a startling perceived physical threat is called fight or flight response. It's automatic. The key thing to understand is that even when the perceived threat is not a threat at all, parentheses, like hearing a buzz by your ear, but it's a fly instead of a bee, end parentheses, we will still attack or flee from it, fight or flight. Well, we do the same thing when presented with any information that is different than our current sense of self. So ego defense is emotional fight or flight. And it is active at all times in coaching in a multitude of ways, many of which are subtle or subconscious even, our clients will attack or ignore. I'm going to read that with a different cadence. Give me a breath on this. In a multitude of ways, many of which are subtle or subconscious even, our clients will attack or ignore the ideas of change and changing. When I can help people see that they are automatically protecting their sense of self and comfort zones, change can come about more efficiently. A third tool that is ever present when supporting clients emotionally is an understanding of addiction, and specifically emotional addiction. I credit Dr. Joe Dispenza and researchers featured in the segment in the movie What the Bleep Do We Know? That explained emotional addiction, at least when I first learned it, like 17 years ago. In short, emotions are chemicals that generate inside the hypothalamus and can enter our nervous system in addictive ways, just like caffeine or sugar or alcohol. Oh, that reminds me, I'm going to have another sip of coffee right now. Thank you for laughing, but no different. Same way we get addicted to caffeine or nicotine or whatever your chemical of choice is. When we understand that emotions are chemicals, we can understand that we can get addicted to emotions. What happens if we're addicted to emotions? I'm like, wait, is he reading word for word? No, I'll go back to reading word for word. I'm so excited about this content. Here we go. All right. So in short, emotions are chemicals that generate inside the hypothalamus and can enter our nervous system in addictive ways, just like caffeine or sugar or alcohol. We can become addicted to anger, addicted to victimization, addicted to guilt, addicted to overwhelm. And truth be told, I really feel that we are all addicted to something. The good news is we can also become addicted to the positive emotions, addicted to jovial, addicted to enthusiastic, addicted to gratified, addicted to unwavering, etc. Being able to detect and explain emotional addiction to my clients has been critical in helping them understand the emotional cravings and potential withdrawal associated with making behavioral changes. The triad of ingredients that new paragraph, right? The triad of ingredients that combine to make up our state of mind in any given moment is perhaps the tool I have used most often in supporting clients with mindset and emotions. The overarching idea is that our state of mind in any given moment is a function of three ingredients: the language we use, the beliefs we are focused on, and our physiology, including posture, movement, and biochemistry. These ingredients represent doors we can enter to change our state of mind, ingredients we can swap out when wanting to change, predetermine, or author our state of mind. While this information is free with a couple of keystrokes on the internet now, I did not learn about Triad until I got into coaches training in my early 30s. I have changed hundreds of lives with all of the ways I can use the tool of Triad in supporting clients in behavioral change. The very same way that we need peanut butter, jelly, and bread for one kind of sandwich, but ham, cheese, and bread for a different kind of sandwich, we simply need to proactively choose or alter the three ingredients of Triad: language, physiology, and beliefs in order to get a different state of mind. The importance is obvious in that all of our decisions and behaviors are a function of our state of mind in any given moment. Overcoming ego defense, emotional addiction, the pain or imbalance of unfulfilled needs, as well as building new habits, are all dependent on our ability to manipulate our triads for productive states of mind. All right, there you have it. A lot of wordiness there, right? Kind of fun vocabulary choices, but we're going to open it up for conversation now. Tip number 22 is emotional tools. There are more, but I highlighted a couple of the ones that I use most commonly, most frequently, that would anchor what I would train. If any of you want to get into like one-on-one training with me, this is free that we do every week. But anybody out there, if you're like, God, I want Jeff to mentor me, I want Jeff to train me, I want to know everything Jeff knows, this is going to be the lead on these tools, right? This is, I don't want to say Klubeck's greatest hits, because I didn't necessarily come up with these tools. I learned about them and I learned how to implement them. That's what I'm really good at, is learning how to listen carefully and implement the right tool at the right time, and know when to get into a discussion of needs, or when to have them write a triangle out and label each wall of the triangle with language, physiology, and beliefs. And Sue, you've been in mentoring with me. You've gone through these processes, so you understand. It's really it's funny, so many things in life are as easy to understand as they are difficult to apply, or as easy to understand as they are difficult to implement. And when we're talking about behavioral change and fight or flight response and emotional fight or flight and ego defense, and it's tough, right? So, people think, oh, coaching, I know what a coach is. What is a coach? Are you kidding? This is work. It's skill, it's patience, it's listening, it's having command of the tools back here, staying focused on who's in front of you, and being able to quickly bring out whatever tool you need in the moment to make change, positive change, to help people on their way. So you can tell how passionate I am about this topic. It's just 22 tips. We got 30 to go after today. But what do you guys have to say or ask or share about what we're talking about today? Let me see if I can read a comment here. Someone says, hi, Jeff and Sue. I don't know who that is. It's just Facebook user. So hello, Facebook user. It might be Patty. I'm not sure. I don't know. It could be Patty, right? Whoever it is, Sue, they know both of us.
Yeah.
So what do we got for tip number 22?
Yeah, Jeff, I love this tool. And the one that really speaks to me is what you said about the importance of the coach listening for those defenses, listening, helping the client to see things that they can't see for themselves. We often hold up that mirror, and it's all based on our listening, though. And so I love this idea of being able to help the client see what state they're in, and knowing and helping them to recognize that they have the choice to change. And they've got different levers that they can, that they can manipulate, that they can use to change their state of mind. I love that.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. This happens. I used to tell a big story about this. Like one time I remember, like years ago, over a decade ago, I went out to my car in the morning to get ready. I had to go downtown and be at a prospective new client. I went out to my car and the window was busted. The glove box was open. My car had been broken into. And so now it's like, where are the garage door openers? Do they have access to the garage? Can they come in the house? And I was panicked. I was upset. I was violated. That was my state of mind in the moment. Right. So I actually had to use these tools on myself. Take a deep breath, change my physiology, focus on, create a new belief to focus on, and start saying different things. This too shall pass. This will be fine. they're not coming back to the scene. I started off, what if they come back? What if they come back? And then I ended up saying, they're not coming back.
Yeah.
And so just by changing my language and, like time is money. If I'm looking over here at time is money, I'm going to behave really fast. But if I'm looking over here at patience is a virtue, I'm going to behave with some more deliberation. You follow? So whichever belief we're focused on in any given moment is going to underlie the behavior, what language we're using, or what's our biochemistry. Are we breathing? So I like that you say levers. You said levers in the text. I use doors. There's a couple of doors that we can walk through to get into command of our state, rather than the state being a reaction or a habit or a pattern, right? If you could be in another mood, what mood would you want to be in?
Yeah.
So we learn how to ask, we learn how to ask great questions to get people into this conversation with us, right? I'll say things like, are you as sure about what you just said as you are that the sun will rise tomorrow? And they go, but they're trying to get me. Are you as sure about that as you are that this? Well, I guess not. Okay. So other than them trying to get you and you playing victim, what else could be going on here?
Yeah.
So we understand that every behavior is an attempt to meet needs. We understand that we're hardwired, spring-loaded like a mousetrap to protect and defend ourselves immediately with a perceived threat. This is one of the things I want everybody to understand. I read by it quickly, but I slow down right now. If I hear a buzz by my ear, I'm going to do the SWAT and duck. Here's what I'm not going to do. Right. So you've heard me do this before, I believe. I've done this on a big stage before. So fun. It's called the spider talk. You can search it up on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, 19-minute video, the spider talk. But anyway, have you ever walked face first into a spider web is what I'm getting at. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Nobody wants that. But here's what happens when I got to take the glasses off my face. I can't even do this with a straight face with glasses on. When you're walking along and whoop, you as soon as your face hits the spider web, you don't say, what should I do? I feel something on my nose. And most likely it's a spider web. And if I feel it, the spider feels it, and it's probably on its way to the epicenter of the vibration where it can wrap whatever created the vibration in the web and suck the blood out of it. I don't want that. What should I do? Should I Google? Should I call a friend? Should I ask my wife? How do I handle it? We just start freaking out.
Yeah.
Right? Even if the spider's asleep on the next tree over. Do you know what I'm saying? So the buzz buzzing by our ear. Zzz, I hear something buzzing by my ear. And if that's a bee, it can sting me. And I don't want to get stung by a bee. So should I swat, but then it could get my finger, or should I finger my ear? Finger or ear? If it stung me, would I rather be stung on my ear or my finger? Well, I guess my ear, but I don't know. My finger, I need to use my hands, but I guess I can still hear. We don't do that. We just freak out. And then we look and it's a fly and not a bee, is the point that I'm making. So what I'm trying to suggest to you as somebody that's interested in learning how to coach, or anybody that's learning how to accelerate coaching or train other coaches, etc., is we have to understand that the clients are flinching, fight or flighting, non-threats. We are not a threat to our client's success. We're a threat to their comfort zone. I'm just going to let that one sit because I felt a note-taking moment there.
Yeah.
We are never a threat to our client's success. We are always a threat to their comfort zones that prevent them from succeeding, right? And so we have to understand that here we are, they're paying us, right? If we're coaching for money, right? They're paying us. And they'll still fight us and resist us, and they don't know they're doing it. But we know.
Yeah.
And instead of saying something like, why are you fighting me? I'm the coach. You're not coachable. I'm going to fire you. You're wasting my time. That's not a coach. That's an egomaniac. Make sense? I'm going to say, hey, can I tell you why you just resisted that suggestion? Or is that the right language pattern that you'd like to use? Tell me that one more time, but use 3 different words. You go, huh? Just try it.
Yeah.
You follow their they're not aware sometimes. So these are important tools to understand, emotional tools that, fight or flight, emotional addiction, the drivers of inner psychology, our needs. Every behavior is an attempt to meet one or more needs. That's fantastic. When you say, well, here's 6 emotional needs. Your current behaviors, which needs are being met, which are being ignored, which are being met at a high level at the expense of others. Are you meeting one need, 2 needs? Are you meeting all 6? Right? And, whether it's, like I said, whether it's Abraham Maslow or Aristotle, Logos, Ethos, Pathos, or Carl Jung, or, any of the behavioral science, or, Brian Tracy did some great work on human motivation. I mean, what motivates people to succeed has been studied. So, there's not much new under the sun, but a lot of times our clients think like, what's going on? Or they're in doubt. And for us, we already know what everybody wants. They want a sense of certainty. They want a sense of excitement. They want a sense of connection. They want to matter. They want to grow, and they want to give. That's it. That's all we're trying to do. That's it. Those are the 6. So it's funny when we say, hey, so tell me what's bothering you, or tell me what needs to be different. They'll go into story where we're trying to get them to pin down a label so we can work with it. And that effort to label the areas that they want to move on. We talked about this earlier in the book, and CICR, peeling the layers of the onion, so that they can access answers. But once you label something, you can work with it. Right now, they got to do the work, right? So we have to know that there's going to be resistance. There's going to be bobbing and weaving. There's going to be smoking and mirroring, slipping and sliding, swatting and ducking. And if we're not aware of that as coaches, when we're endeavoring to coach, we're not going to be as successful. So what else do we say about today's tip?
Yeah, one of the things I love about the human needs and helping to build that awareness with a client is it opens them up to shifting their perspective from what's out there and blaming the external for whatever it is they're trying to deal with, and becoming more reflective and aware of where's the driver, that it's building that awareness of actually that's an internal driver that maybe they hadn't even considered, and most likely have just become automatic in terms of their reaction.
Very automatic. That's very automatic. That's the point I'm trying to make. If I walk into a spider web, I don't sit there for 3 minutes and deliberate in an analytical pattern about what I need to do about it. I just start swatting my face and freaking out. The funny part of it is, Margot, have you ever walked into a spider web and then you start slapping your face, jumping around, and you're freaking out because you don't, like, sometimes you walk right through the web and you don't want the web to wrap around you and have a dangling spider behind your back that you can't see, right? So now you're triggered with the heebie-jeebies. I'm sorry to make you laugh because that'll make you. I'm sorry. But I gotta be me, right? So here's what happens. First of all, we freak out. We look around. There's no spider. But if you're like me, like terrified of spiders, I will take off my shirt. Have you ever done this? Take off my shirt and I will start flapping it like I'm folding bed sheets to make sure there's no spider that got inside the collar I'm not taking any chances. No dangler behind me, nothing sneaking inside. I'm gonna inside out. I flip it and I turn it inside out and I flip it again like bed sheets. And then I put it on, and then I don't stop there. I go to the nearest water source I can find. As soon as I get into a building, I go and I wash my hands and I take the towel and I wipe it all around so that there's no web remnants anywhere on me. Now 10 minutes has gone by, right? And I would bet $1 million, literally, by statistical probability, that there's no spider on me.
Yeah.
But as soon as I walk underneath my air conditioning vent and it blows my hair on my ear, I start freaking out again. I feel one hair hit my ear from the vent under the air conditioning. And I start freaking out all over again, even knowing that I would have bet $1 million 2 seconds ago that there's no spider around. Why am I saying all of this? Fight or flight is automatic. It's the first responder, even when we're not threatened. If we don't know that as coaches, we're going to have a hard time being world class. And that's, my opinion, of course. Happy Friday, guys. What else can we talk about today? What do you got, Margot?
So a dear friend of mine named Carol Corsi wrote a book on emotional agility. that I read many, many years ago. And it's always sort of been foundational for me in terms of helping clients recognize that they have the choice to step into another emotion other than the one that's consuming them right now. And they, they often fight and resist and say, that's too hard. This is, this is just who I am. This is just how I am. So I will suggest to them that it's like just taking on, take off the coat they're wearing and try on another coat. It doesn't have to be forever. It's just to try it on, look, see how it feels. If they don't like it, take it off. There's a bunch of coaches in their closet, but coats in their closet.
They're next to all the skeletons, by the way.
So sometimes it's just helping them recognize that it's something they can try. It can be easy. It can be fun. It doesn't have to be, okay, you have to change your life forever starting the next moment. It's just like, we're going to play, we're going to practice, we're going to do something different, and then talk about that experience and see what it was like for them. And if they didn't like the one, that they tried on, well, let's explore something else. And make it playful, make it fun, make it not so have to be so hard, so heavy.
Yeah. Well, again, this is one of the distinctions. I love what you're saying right now, because one of the distinctions between motivational coaching and accountability coaching, right? So if I'm doing accountability coaching, we'll get to those tips later on in the book. We're 8 weeks away or whatever, right? 2 months to go for accountability. It's exciting. But my point is, if I'm doing accountability coaching, and I want to push and stretch. What's the most amount of things you could commit to? If these are the 3 most important things that you're trying to achieve, anything else that you're doing that's not working towards those is arguably a waste of time, right? So in between now and next session, how much can you commit to? What else could you do? What else could you do? What else could you do? How many calls can you make? How many, chapters could you write? How many, whatever the goal is, right? With motivational coaching, as I indicated last week in last week's tips, the 6 outcomes for motivational coaching, I want one action item. Like you're saying, just try it on. Just have a bite. It's a rule in our family. Just have a bite. We got to taste it. If you taste it and it's a bite, you tell me you don't like it after that. And I always pay attention to my kids' faces, and they hate it. They want to taste it and look away, because they know that if I see their face when they taste it, they are not going to be able to hide how good it is. And they just got done saying, I don't like that. It's like, what do you mean you don't like that? You haven't tried it. You got to try it. If you try it and you don't like it, right on. And sometimes, most of the time I'm right? And I try to tell them, hey, I'm not going to ask you to try anything if I don't think you'll like it. The only things that I ask you to try are the things that I think you will like. Now, I've been wrong. Dad, I didn't really like it. I once had the most recent example of that is I had my son Brody try a hard-boiled egg. He's like, Dad, I don't know. The white part's okay, but I don't know about the middle part. Okay, right on. You tried it. Hard-boiled egg, 10-year-old. I don't know. Anyway, but I like your metaphor, like the dressing room. Everybody's excited in the dressing room. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to wear it out.
Yeah.
You don't have to put it, on credit and pay interest on it. You just got to try it on. And by the way, the other thing too is what I thought of when you were sharing that analogy is that sometimes we try something on in the dressing room, like, I don't know. And then we come out of the dressing room and whoever we're with goes, oh my God. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So sometimes we don't think it looks good on us, but the rest of the world's telling us it looks great. And so, but we start with that try on, and then we can reinforce. Then we could build strength and confidence, but we got to get people moving off of their stuck positions, etc.
Yeah.
So here we are in tip number 22, get a clue in 52. This is for coaches. So all 5 categories here are about like promoting yourself as a coach, getting coaching clients, delivering world-class coaching, and then building a coaching practice. Essentially, it's very chronological the way it's laid out. Thank you so much, Margot. You're here. By the way, do we have any quick plugs for Professional Coaches Alliance? Is anything happening that you would like to share with the world about Professional Coaches
We
Alliance?
have a wonderful speaker next month. Actually, it's this month. It's June already, isn't it?
Can you believe it?
On the second Monday, we have Mary Kravitz talking about how, getting clients,
Oh, great.
lead generation, closing the deal. It's all about building your business by being able to identify and bring clients in. It's going to be a
That's
great talk.
yeah. I love it because like I go back to like tip number 5. Let's get super honest about why we're coaching. Right? It's to earn an income as a coach.
Yeah.
Right. So like it's easy to think about coaching. I need to do coaching, deliver good coaching. But what Ms. Kravitz is going to talk about is client acquisition, lead gen, conversion, client acquisition. So wait a second. Those are terms that work. They're for any business. Coaching is no different than any other business. So we still have to do sales and marketing and lead gen and conversions and so forth. So a lot of times coaches don't see themselves as salespeople, don't see themselves as marketers, don't see themselves as business owners. Well, you either need to do that or hire teams to do that. And then everybody has marketing PTSD because there's so many marketing opportunities out there and nobody knows what's going to work or what's going to fail. And so there's a lot of challenges to this practice building thing that I'm going to talk about in the last 12 tips. But I love what you're saying right now when Professional Coaches Alliance is committed, absolutely committed to helping aspiring, emerging coaches build their practices and seasoned coaches build biz together, biz lab, collaboration, etc. So the mission of Professional Coaches Alliance isn't necessarily to teach you how to coach. It's to help you build your coaching practice, build your coaching business, build your acumen, build your etc. So that's exciting stuff. Exciting. Professional Coaches Alliance. It's a very easy website to find, .com. And membership is super affordable. And there's all kinds of great people. You don't just take mine or Margot's word for it. There's a lot of other cool people in Professional Coaches Alliance as well.
Indeed.
And it used to be San Diego Professional Coaches Alliance, but we dropped to San Diego so we can have an international reach, Sue. So
and because during the pandemic we went virtual, and we've got members from all across the country now, so it's great. And Canada.
That's exciting. And we're getting not only expanding our geographic reach, but we're getting out of our Zooms and into in-person networking events. And we're building archives of really incredible content. So you talked about Mary Kravitz coming on board. Well, once she's done, we're going to record it and it'll be available in the archives for all of our members. So we're building tons and tons and tons of value in the Professional Coaches Alliance. Margot is the VP of programs. And by now you should all know that I'm VP of communication. I don't know how I got that job, but I'm trying my best to communicate. And
somebody said he was good at communication. I don't know.
I don't know. It depends on which bathroom all you read. But anyway, that's my joke. You know how long it took me to write that, by the way? Sorry, I'm joking. I'm being silly on a Friday. So what else is there to kick around or discuss? We are in the middle right now. Not middle, but we're in tip 2 out of 10 tips overall on motivation. Last week, we talked about 6 general outcomes that we want to keep in mind. And now we're getting into our toolbox. Today, we talked about emotional tools. Of course, next week, we're going to have, physical, I believe? Yeah, physical tools next week. Fun stuff. So I'm going to talk about some of my favorite physical tools, mental, emotional, and physical. We're talking about our health, right? That's what we're talking about. And then we'll move on to relationships and finance and some other tools for our toolbox as coaches. But let me go ahead and just, we've got like 7 minutes unofficially, but are there any other comments, questions before I introduce a last call?
I really like what Margot's offering in terms of that idea of being in the dressing room and having a try, just having a go. And certainly these tools that you're talking about here, I have found very powerful in that conversation with a client, but also building your own self-awareness and strengthening the conviction and the confidence that you show up with.
Yeah, I got to tell you, even speaking from my own personal experience, it can be challenging when you find yourself in an unwanted mood. The challenge is getting out of it, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as you have, how do you do it? And we're talking about some of these tools we can lean on. Yesterday I found myself getting like 3 different pieces of unwanted news, which created unwanted mood. And I found myself going, oh, that sucks. Wait a second. Like literally almost like moving my head over here to focus on a different belief that I could start building self-talk around, to interrupt the flow of negative emotions out of my hypothalamus on this thing and get into this thing so I could be in action, right? I talked about that example years ago when my car got broken into, and I immediately authored my state of mind to carry on with my day, where, you know, a younger self, a less educated self, especially in this content, would have freaked out and made a big mountain of this problem. But it was just a hiccup based on what I did in my head.
As you were saying before, that Sue was saying before, it's so easy for people to blame something external to themselves. This happened because, you know, of that, or, you know, and point to something external. But the real challenge is to look inside and say, my reaction is what I have the control over. It's actually something internal to me that I can regulate, that I can alter, that will create a different outcome, regardless of what's going on external to me. So that was beautiful, Sue. I like that.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, and again, it's you know, I mentioned one of the emotions that we can become addicted to is victimization. In my coach's training, I lean on the feelings chart, where I've got 70 negative emotions on one side of the page and 70 positive emotions on the other side of the page that are categorized 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 across 7 categories, A, B, C, D, E. And the categories represent vibrational frequency, if you will, without getting too far into the rabbit hole. But it's really fascinating when we can draw a triangle. We could say inside the triangle, write SOM, state of mind equals, and then at the bottom on the inside of the triangle, put a variable, a line for a variable. So on the left side of the line, put the negative unwanted mood, victimized. Okay, now slash that, and let's go shopping for positive emotions. We have 70 to choose from. What mood would you want to be in instead of victimized? What's the positive mood here that if you were in that mood, there's no way that you could feel victimized? And they say, well, let's say unwavering, or let's say hopeful or enthusiastic or unwavering. I'll say, okay, put that now inside the triangle, and let's build those ingredients. What physiology is unwavering? What language would you use if you were unwavering? What would you have to believe in order to be unwavering? We could start to reverse engineer the moods we want to be in. I'm kind of maybe going down a rabbit hole right here, but if you're following, you're following. And like you said, levers to press, doors to enter, ingredients to swap. Remember, if you want a ham and cheese sandwich, you need ham, cheese, and bread. But if you want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you need peanut butter, jelly, and bread. So if I want to be victimized, these are the language, physiology, and beliefs. And if I want to be empowered, these are the language, and it becomes math instead of emotion. It becomes logic instead of emotion. It becomes workable. It becomes solvable. It becomes actionable. Instead of, I don't know what's going on, what was me, any of this stuff that we've all felt at times, you know. So, all right, last call, 9:42. Let's go ahead and sprint to the finish line. These conversations are always so fun and energizing for me, right? A lot of times people get into their Friday and they want to wind it down, shut it down, get off early, enjoy their weekend. And I get fired up every 9 a.m. Pacific time on Fridays, and I can't wait to just run through the rest of my day and just succeed. So on that note, last call for comments, questions about today's tip from Get a Clue in 52 for coaches, myself included. Tip number 22 is a review of some emotional tools that we can use as motivational coaches, or coaches, leaders providing motivational coaching inside of any leadership session.
I just say, come and join the mentoring where we can actually have that practice of these tools, because it's a lot of fun.
You know what? Thanks for mentioning that, Sue. And like, I was about to forget. So here's what's going on. Let me say this. When we talk about group mentoring, right? Here it is. Let me put the banner up. Clues Ooze. OOH stands for online office hours. So it's group mentoring. So what we do is every month we do 3 live sessions. Plus we have over 100 in the archives, because I've been doing group mentoring for a couple of years now. So all of those archived sessions are recorded. And what you would want to do is go to tinyurl.com/TIG. That's for the integrity game. And then Clues Ooze. tinyurl.com TIG Clues Ooze. And that's the landing page to get into group mentoring. And you have a code here, TIGVIPGM, stands for group mentoring 50. So that means 50% off. So we're offering group mentoring. I forgot the pricing. What's the price? I think it's $100 a month. And so 50% off would be $50 a month if you take advantage of the code. And it's worth it because you have access to all the archives plus 3 live sessions. So here's what I'm doing for free. If this is valuable at all, imagine when we get in private, we go deeper. We go, I call it scuba diving. We go much deeper. We role play, we case study, we exercise, we apply. You can ask me questions. You can bring situations that you're dealing with in your endeavors into the group mentoring and get feedback, not just from me, but the other people in session. And we want to build it. It's not something that I promoted aggressively publicly for the first 2-3 years that I did it. This year, I'm committed to letting the world know, hey, group mentoring is pretty cool, and you guys should check it out. Sue, thank you for reminding me to make that available to everybody. And if you want any sort of sample or test, or you want to meet with me one-on-one and ask a question and find out more about it before you jump in, I'm very easy to find. You can schedule a one-on-one time with me using this link right here, meetme.so/get-a-clue. Thank you for prompting that, Sue. I really appreciate that. And yeah, and by the way, those of you that have been following these tips every week, you know that I built my coaching practice offering 2 complimentary coaching sessions. So if you're like, hey, I want 2 complimentary coaching sessions with Jeff or one of the coaches that he's trained, you can go ahead and get scheduled there, and I'll take a look. And that's still on the table for people. I like to assign complimentary coaching to other coaches that I've trained, but sometimes I need to handle it myself based on your circumstance. So all of it's available, 100% of it. But most importantly, get into the Professional Coaches Alliance. That's like the most affordable thing you can do to grow your career right now if you're an aspiring or emerging. If you're seasoned, think about the Business Builder option, which is fantastic. And there's a lot of great collaborations that are happening there. What else? Sue, thank you for that. Margot, anything else from you as far as last call is concerned?
No, I'm good. I'm so glad I got on. Sorry I was a little late.
Yeah, I got to tell you.
A coughing fit.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm just impressed. I mean, how else am I to make meaning of this other than that you think that what we do here every Friday is so valuable that you're here, despite being sick and knowing that you may cough, knowing how jovial I am, that I'm going to make you laugh, make you. It's like, I'm going anyway.
I'm going anyway.
Yeah, so like bravery is like, I don't care what's out there, I'm going. It's kind of foolish, right? Courage, on the other hand, is knowing what's there and going anyway. So I appreciate your courage in the face of your brief illness, and it just means the world to me that you're here every week, both of you. And any of you that are watching recordings or following along in the channels that we're streaming to, my YouTube channel, my Facebook group for Get a Clue in 52, as well as here on LinkedIn. As well. So those 3 channels, we're putting these out every week, and I'm just grateful for everybody that's checking it out and seeing what we have to offer. All right, anything else for today before we dismiss?
Nope.
Nice to see you both.
Thank you guys.
Yeah,
I love you
hope
guys.
You're feeling better, Margot.
Yeah,
thank you.
Look, like I said, you don't look sick. You look great. So I hope you keep feeling great, keep looking great. Anyway, thanks for being here. It means the world to me, you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.